Welcome to Messages from the Universe with Laurie Wondra. Laurie is an internationally renowned psychic medium, author, and shamanic practitioner, sharing insights from angels, guides, wisdom keepers, and teachers of the universe that help you navigate life's mysteries and transformations.
Hello, I am Laurie Wondra, and thank you for listening. Today, I want to talk about when we get tired, when the lights get tired. And what I mean by that is we all have this internal flame, this light that burns, and sometimes it feels like it's burning out, or it's gone, or there's nothing there. So the question that I'm posing today is, do you feel like you're burning out, or let's reframe that, or are you being repositioned? And what happens, and what does it mean, and how do we navigate when your light gets tired? There are moments on this path, this journey that we're on now. We all chose to be here at this time on earth. But there's moments where even the most aware, the most giving, the most connected among us feel tired. There's times I feel tired, not just physically tired, not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, but a deeper kind of exhaustion, the kind that feels like it's almost settling in your bones or into your thoughts or into your sense of purpose. And if you've been feeling that lately, please know you're not alone. There are many, so many, who are beginning to say quietly to themselves, this isn't what I thought this would feel like. This isn't what I thought I came here to do. And why does something that once felt so aligned now suddenly feel so heavy? So today I want to talk about that, not from a place of fear, not from a place of something going wrong, but from a place of deeper understanding. Because what if this isn't burnout in the way we've been taught to see it? What if this is repositioning? I've noticed this as I see clients, and people are trying to name what they're feeling. There's a unique kind of fatigue that comes when you're someone that feels deeply, when you notice energy, when you care about people, when you hold space, guide, support, or simply try to move through the world with awareness. And for many of you listening, you've been doing that for a long time. You've been the one who sees, the one who senses, the one who helps others make sense of things. And somewhere along the way, you kept giving and giving and giving. And even when you were tired, even when you needed space, even when something inside of you whispered, pause, this isn't weakness. This is the natural outcome of being deeply engaged in a world that's also going through its own intensity, its own change, its own noise. And your system, your body, your energy, your awareness is responding. This isn't just spiritual, it's real. We sometimes talk about this only in spiritual language, but there is a very real, grounded aspect to what's happening. When you're constantly aware, constantly processing, constantly being curious and pondering and spending time on meditating or grounding or journaling, constantly giving, your system doesn't always get to reset. Your nervous system stays engaged. Your body holds more than it releases. And over time that builds, it stacks up. This is where what many call burnout begins to show up. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're doing something deeply. And you're doing something deeply for a long time without recalibrating how you do it. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed, feeling disconnected or even questioning everything, it doesn't mean you've lost your connection. It may mean your system is asking for a different way of holding it. And that feeling that you might have, and maybe you've uttered these words, that this isn't what I signed up for, that feeling, there is another layer to this. And it's more subtle, but it is very, very real. Many people are carrying a feeling right now of, I thought my life would look different. I thought things would feel further along by now. I thought I would feel more aligned, more clear, more settled. Something different than what you're actually feeling. And when that doesn't match reality, it can feel like something is off. Like maybe you've taken a wrong turn. Like maybe the path shifted without you really agreeing to it. But here is a different way to look at this. Growth rarely looks like the version we imagined. Expansion almost always requires disruption. The identity that once fit won't always fit forever. So instead of asking, did I get off track? You might begin to ask, what part of me is outgrowing the way I thought this would be? Because often it's not the path that changed. It's you. And this is a good thing. Now, I've heard a lot of questions that are people leaving or are they completing cycles? I know there's also a perception right now that people are stepping away, that some are disappearing and some are leaving, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. But while it can feel that way, there's another perspective that is much more grounded and supportive. Not everyone is leaving. Some are completing. Some are closing chapters that were never meant to be permanent. Some are stepping out of roles that no longer reflect who they've become. And some are finally allowing themselves to rest, to integrate, to be instead of constantly doing. We have been conditioned to believe that if someone steps back, if they've become quiet, we don't hear from them, then they've failed or they've given up or they've chosen to just disappear. But what if stepping back is actually a sign of awareness? What if it's a sign that something deeper is emerging and something deeper is being honored? Because not every phase of life is meant to be outward. Social media gets us in this place that everything has to be lived out in public. All the photos and messages, what I do today, tomorrow, how I feel, everything is out there. But we're in a time of a lot of inward. It doesn't have to be outward. Some things and many things are meant to be internal, to be quiet, restorative. This is not a loss. This is wisdom. This is what I call the evolution of light work. This is also something else that's happening. And this is important. The way many people have understood light work is changing. There was a time when it looked like giving more than you had, being available all the time, holding space for everyone at any moment, at any time of the day, putting yourself last. And for a while, that maybe was part of the learning, but it was never meant to be the permanent model because true alignment does not require self-abandonment. So what is emerging now is something totally different, a more embodied way of being, where you can care without carrying everything. I'll say that one again. You can care without carrying everything for everyone else. You can support without depleting yourself. You can show up without losing who you are. And this is not powerful. It's more sustainable. And actually, it's more real. So why might this feel so strong right now? There are moments in time where many cycles converge, where endings and beginnings overlap, where what no longer fits becomes incredibly clear and what is emerging hasn't fully formed yet. And that space is between. That space could be between breaths, between the inhale and the exhale. And that can feel uncomfortable, especially using that analogy, that space between the breath in and out. Are you holding your breath? Does it feel panicky? Do you feel scared? Are you going to be able to release or draw in another breath? This is a time that you can feel uncomfortable knowing that there's comfort coming. There is uncertainty. There's even heavy energy, but it's also where recalibration happens, where clarity begins to rebuild, where new ways of being start to take shape. So if this year or this moment feels like a threshold, you're not imagining it. But it's not about something being taken away. It's about something being redefined. So what can you do right now? What do you do with all of this? You begin simply. You don't need to fix everything. You don't need to figure it all out. And you start with awareness, noticing where you feel depleted. Stop looking external. Look internal. Be quiet, be calm. Notice where you are overextending. Notice what no longer feels aligned, even if it once did. Stop asking yourself why it doesn't feel aligned and stop trying to get it back in alignment. Notice that maybe it's time for that alignment to be done. This is a time that you might want to ask yourself, what is mine to carry right now? What am I ready to release or let go or leave behind me on this trail, this journey, this path I'm on? What would support me instead of draining me? And then give yourself permission. Cheerlead yourself to move in that direction. Celebrate those steps forward in that momentum and give yourself permission to rest, permission to step back, permission to do things differently, because doing it differently does not mean you're stepping away from your path. It means you're finally stepping into it more fully. Now, why is this so important right now? It's because it's part of our evolution. It's part of where the planets are helping navigate our energy, encouraging us to move differently, be differently, put ourselves first, rejuvenate, rest, rethink where we are in the world. And above all, notice if you've been feeling tired, if you've been feeling overwhelmed, if you've been questioning your actions or those actions of others, if something inside of you feels like it's shifting, let it. Take a breath with that. No, you're not falling behind. You are not losing your connection. You're not done. You're not leaving. You're evolving. You may simply be at a point where the way forward looks differently than it once did. Maybe the trail or the path ahead of you has grown over with weeds and you're not supposed to forge through that. There's a different pathway. And that's okay, because the light you carry was never meant to burn you out. That light never goes out. So if you're noticing that it feels dim or it feels under pressure, it's time to give yourself rest to illuminate the light within you. That light was meant to live through you in a way that is forever steady and sustainable and true. And when that life feels vibrant and solid and secure, then it's natural to give or to share. Don't force anything. I guess that's the biggest message of today is the angels and guides are saying, be in the flow and don't force. If you're feeling burnt out and you need a rest, take a rest. I want to thank all of you for being here today. I'm assuming that everyone that's listening to this is a light worker, a light runner, a light leader, a light carrier, a light explorer, some sort of form of working with your light. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on this planet now, this time, this space. Thank you for doing the work, even when it feels quiet, even when it feels uncertain. If this resonates with you, I ask you please to share this message because I'm hearing weekly, almost daily, people that are feeling so burnt out, so tired, and the judgment is upon themselves that they're doing something wrong or they did something wrong. And it's simply not true. They've not done anything wrong. They're experiencing a natural ebb and flow of evolution. This is a time to remind yourself to stay connected to yourself, stay grounded in your truth, and trust the unfolding. Know that you are not alone. You're never alone. The angels and guides, the ancients, the elders, the wisdom keepers, the healers of the universe have always been near you and will continue to always be near you. I'm Laurie Wondra of Your Life Core, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to Messages from the Universe. For information about Laurie Wondra's current events or to schedule a private session, visit her website, yourlifecore.com. You can also subscribe to her monthly newsletter. Laurie also shares inspirational and informational messages on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening.